America's most beloved TV dad wasn't living the life viewers believed in. The ultimate sitcom heartthrob, famous for chasing women on screen, was hiding a truth the industry refused to accept. The innocent country boy who made millions laugh with one simple word kept his real identity secret for decades. These weren't just performances, they were survival tactics in a time when honesty could end a career overnight. Some entered marriages they never wanted, just to silence whispers. Others arrived at red carpet events with carefully chosen dates, while their real partners stayed invisible. A few even went through therapy, believing something was wrong with them, because the pressure to be normal was relentless. These 15 sitcom stars made America laugh while concealing the most personal parts of who they were. Their secrets weren't protected for their own sake, but to preserve ratings, reputations, and careers that could disappear instantly if the truth came out. Subscribe to uncover the stories behind the laughter and the price these performers paid to keep the illusion alive. The Brady Bunch dad's hidden struggle. Robert Reed became the definition of the perfect American father as Mike Brady on The Brady Bunch. He led a blended family with calm authority, solved every problem in under half an hour, and made fatherhood look effortless. The show ran for 5 seasons, producing 117 episodes that are still watched today. Reed played the role so convincingly that audiences assumed he lived that same wholesome life off camera. But behind the scenes, Robert Reed was a gay man, forced to stay silent in an era when coming out could destroy everything. While offering wisdom to Greg and Marcia on screen, he was fighting a private battle few understood. He frequently clashed with creator Sherwood Schwartz, criticizing the scripts for being too light and unrealistic. He wanted serious drama, but was trapped in a cheerful sitcom. What many didn't realize was that his frustration may have come from living a double life under constant pressure. Reed never came out publicly while he was alive. It wasn't until after his death in 1992 that the truth became widely known. Co-star Barry Williams later explained that Reed kept emotional distance because he couldn't risk opening up. He built walls to protect a secret that defined his life. The man who represented ideal fatherhood for a generation was never allowed to be himself, proof of an industry that protected fantasy over humanity. The uncle who never said the words. If you watched television in the 1960s or 70s, you knew Paul Lynde. As Uncle Arthur on Bewitched, he was loud, mischievous, and unforgettable. His sharp delivery, exaggerated expressions, and chaotic energy made him a scene stealer every time he appeared. Audiences loved him because he was fearless in his comedy. Yet, Paul Lynde never publicly said he was gay. In Hollywood, it was an open secret. Industry insiders knew, the public pretended not to. He leaned into flamboyant characters, letting style speak where words could not. Saying the truth out loud, however, still felt too dangerous. In 1965, a young man fell from a hotel window after spending time with Lynde, creating a scandal that could have ended everything. Studios moved quickly to bury the story and protect his career. For decades, Lynde continued making people laugh on sitcoms and game shows while keeping his personal life sealed away. He died at 55, never telling his story himself. Humor became both his weapon and his armor, allowing him to express himself without ever fully being seen. The second Darren's quiet courage. When Dick Sargent replaced Dick York as Darren on Bewitched, he stepped into one of television's most recognizable roles. As Samantha's husband, he played the sensible, overwhelmed straight man trying to survive a world of magic. But off-screen, Sargent was hiding a truth that followed him his entire career. For years, he carefully maintained a straight image. He staged relationships with women for the press, classic Hollywood beards designed to keep gossip at bay. Photographs, premieres, and magazine stories all worked together to sell the illusion. Then in 1991, Dick Sargent made a decision few actors of his generation dared to make. On National Coming Out Day, he publicly came out as gay. He explained that rising suicide rates among young people pushed him to speak up. He wanted them to see that success and honesty could coexist. In the final years of his life, he became an outspoken advocate for LGBTQ+ visibility. instead of taking his secret to the grave, he chose to use it to help others, marking a turning point that mattered far beyond his own career. Dr. Bellows and the Confirmed Bachelor Code. Hayden Rourke played Dr. Bellows on I Dream of Jeannie, the no-nonsense military psychiatrist constantly suspicious of the strange events happening around him. Ironically, while his character searched for hidden truths, the actor himself was guarding one of his own. In Hollywood, Rourke was labeled a confirmed bachelor, a polite phrase widely understood as code for a gay man. He shared his life with longtime partner Eustace Addison, living together quietly in Studio City. To the public, they were just roommates. To those in the industry, the truth was obvious. The cast knew. Barbara Eden adored him, but everyone understood the stakes. If audiences learned that a military authority figure on a family sitcom was gay, his contract could vanish instantly. Rourke never broke character, never slipped, and never corrected the narrative. He carried the secret until his death, allowing his real relationship to be dismissed as convenience rather than love. His story shows how Hollywood used coded language to hide truths in plain sight. Gomer Pyle's decades-long secret. Gomer Pyle was one of television's most beloved characters. Jim Nabors turned the wide-eyed, soft-spoken country boy into a cultural icon, earning fame and fortune along the way. His catchphrase alone made him unforgettable. But Jim Nabors was nothing like Gomer off-screen. Without the character's voice, he possessed a deep, powerful singing ability that stunned audiences. More importantly, he was a gay man living extremely privately. He moved to Hawaii, far from Hollywood's gossip machine, to protect his peace. In the 1970s, a cruel rumor spread that Nabors had secretly married actor Rock Hudson. The story nearly destroyed his career, forcing him into damage control. For decades, he stayed silent, choosing privacy over public truth. Like so many others, Jim Nabors made America smile while carrying a secret that shaped every decision he made. The cruelty of that rumor revealed just how dangerous even a whisper could be. What makes Jim Nabors' story remarkable is that he eventually did marry, just much later in life. In 2013, at the age of 82, he legally married his partner of 35 years. When asked about it, Nabors said he hadn't been hiding so much as protecting his privacy. He never felt the need to make an announcement. He simply wanted his work to stand on its own. He was a deeply private man who loved to sing and make people laugh. That quiet wedding carried both triumph and heartbreak. Joy in finally being able to marry the man he loved. Sadness for the decades when that recognition was denied. His story reflects an entire generation forced to wait a lifetime for something others took for granted. The romantic idol's devastating secret. Rock Hudson was Hollywood perfection, 6'5", impossibly handsome, and the fantasy man for millions of women throughout the 1950s and 60s. He dominated movie screens and later appeared on television shows like Dynasty. He was the ultimate symbol of classic masculinity. Inside Hollywood, his secret was widely known. Outside of it, his team worked relentlessly to keep the truth buried. His agents even arranged a short-lived marriage to his secretary, a calculated move designed solely to silence gossip magazines. It was never about love. It was about survival. For decades, Rock Hudson lived inside that carefully constructed image. He attended premieres with glamorous women. He gave interviews about finding the right wife, all while his real relationships remained invisible. When the truth finally emerged, it did so in the most tragic way possible. In 1985, Rock Hudson publicly revealed that he had AIDS, becoming the first major celebrity to do so. His announcement forced the world to confront a crisis devastating the gay community. He died shortly after, but in his final days, he did more for LGBTQ+ visibility than his entire career had allowed him to do before. His death transformed him from a closeted icon into an accidental activist. his truth revealed too late for himself, but in time to save others. Dr. Kildare's 50-year silence. Richard Chamberlain was television royalty. In the 1960s, he became a massive teen idol as Dr. Kildare, receiving thousands of fan letters every week, mostly from women who believed he was the perfect boyfriend. Maintaining that fantasy became his full-time job. Behind the scenes, Chamberlain became an expert at hiding. He escorted female friends to premieres so photographers could capture the right image. He later admitted that he felt like an imposter, performing a role even when the camera stopped rolling. Eventually, he retreated to Hawaii, seeking distance from Hollywood's expectations. He didn't publicly come out until 2003, nearly 70 years old, when he released his memoir, Shattered Love. He said he was simply tired of hiding and wanted to live honestly for whatever time he had left. It's painful to realize how many of his best years were shaped by fear, decades spent protecting an illusion. Yet, his late-life honesty helped shift the conversation for those who followed. Chamberlain represents an entire generation of performers who only found freedom when their careers no longer depended on silence. Anthony Perkins and the costs of denial. Anthony Perkins will forever be remembered as Norman Bates in Psycho, but audiences also saw him on television panel shows like Match Game. Off-screen, he was intensely shy and deeply conflicted about his sexuality at a time when being gay was considered unacceptable. The pressure was so severe that Perkins underwent therapy in an attempt to change himself. Eventually, he married a woman and had 2 children, presenting a traditional family life that confused many within Hollywood. Whether the marriage was love, obligation, or performance remains unclear. What is known is the toll it took on him. The tension between who he was and who he felt he had to be followed him for years. Like Rock Hudson, Perkins died of AIDS-related complications in 1992. Shortly before his death, he released a statement saying his final journey taught him more about love and compassion than his entire life before. His story exposes the cruelty of an era that forced people to choose between authenticity and survival, often leaving deep psychological scars that no amount of success could heal. The camp icon who mastered the code.